Ladies and gentlemen, today we delve into the life and legacy of one of the most distinctive voices in modern music, Bryan Ferry. Known for his suave persona, smooth vocals, and the unique blend of rock, pop, and art that he brought to the music scene, Bryan Ferry has carved out a place in the annals of music history that few can rival. His journey from the son of a coal miner to the frontman of Roxy Music, and later, to a successful solo artist, is a tale of innovation, reinvention, and timeless elegance. Early life and influences. Bryan Ferry was born on September 26, 1945, in Washington, County Durham, England. His upbringing was modest. His father, Frederick Charles Ferry, was a farm laborer who later worked as a coal miner. Despite the humble beginnings, Ferry's home was filled with music. His mother, Mary Ann, was a devout Catholic and often sang around the house, and this early exposure to music ignited a passion in the young Bryan. Ferry attended Washington Grammar Technical School, where his artistic inclinations became evident. He was particularly drawn to the visual arts, and after finishing school, he went on to study fine art at Newcastle University under the tutelage of Richard Hamilton, a leading figure in the pop art movement. It was here that Ferry began to fuse his love of music with visual art, a combination that would later define his work with Roxy Music, during his time at university. Ferry was influenced by a wide array of musical genres, from jazz to blues, and artists like Charlie Parker, Billie Holiday, and Bob Dylan. These influences would later manifest in his eclectic approach to music, blending traditional rock with elements of jazz, soul, and even avant-garde art. The birth of Roxy Music. In 1970, Bryan Ferry formed Roxy Music with a group of like-minded musicians, including Brian Eno, Andy McKay, and Phil Manzanera. Roxy Music was not just a band, it was an art project, a statement, and a revolution in sound and style. The band's self-titled debut album, released in 1972, was a breath of fresh air in the rock scene, blending glam rock, art rock, and experimental sounds with Ferry's distinctively smooth vocals. Roxy Music was as much about the visual as it was about the auditory. Ferry, with his sharp suits and debonair style, became the epitome of cool, setting trends in both music and fashion. The band's image was carefully crafted, with album covers often featuring models in striking, sometimes controversial, poses. This blend of music, art, and fashion set Roxy Music apart from their contemporaries and established Ferry as a cultural icon. The success of Roxy Music continued with albums like For Your Pleasure, 1973, Stranded, 1973, and Country Life, 1974, each pushing the boundaries of rock music. The band's sound evolved, moving from the experimental to the more polished, with Ferry's voice becoming smoother and more refined. Solo career and artistic exploration. While Roxy Music was a significant part of his career, Bryan Ferry was never content to be confined to one project. In 1973, he released his first solo album, These Foolish Things, a collection of cover songs that showcased his ability to reinterpret classic tunes in his own unique style. This album was the beginning of a prolific solo career that would see Ferry release a string of successful albums over the decades. Ferry's solo work allowed him to explore different musical landscapes, from the jazz-infused sounds of The Bride Stripped Bare, 1978, to the sophisticated pop of Boys and Girls, 1985. His voice, often described as like honey poured over ice, became his trademark, as did his penchant for blending the old with the new, whether through his choice of songs to cover or his fusion of different musical genres. The 1980s and 1990s were particularly fruitful for Ferry. His 1985 album Boys and Girls was a commercial success, spawning hits like Slave to Love and Don't Stop the Dance. This period also saw Ferry cement his status as a solo artist separate from Roxy Music, though he continued to reunite with the band for various projects. Personal life and challenges. Bryan Ferry's personal life has often been as much in the spotlight as his music. He married model Lucy Helmore in 1982, and the couple had 4 sons together. However, their marriage ended in divorce in 2003, a difficult period for Ferry that coincided with some of his darker, more introspective work. Despite his suave public persona, Ferry has always been somewhat of an enigma. He's known for his private nature, rarely discussing his personal life in interviews. However, those close to him describe him as a perfectionist, deeply committed to his art, and someone who has always been driven by a need to create. Ferry's perfectionism has not always made life easy, particularly in his relationships. His intense focus on his career has, at times, come at the cost of his personal life, a fact that he has acknowledged in interviews. The pressures of fame, the demands of his work, and the breakdown of his marriage took a toll on him, leading to periods of introspection and solitude, legacy and influence. As Bryan Ferry entered the new millennium, his influence on modern music and fashion became increasingly evident. Artists like David Bowie, Duran Duran, and even contemporary pop stars like Lady Gaga have cited Ferry and Roxy Music as significant influences on their work. His ability to blend high art with popular culture, to move effortlessly between genres, and to maintain a sense of style and sophistication throughout his career is something that has inspired countless musicians and artists. In 2001, Roxy Music reunited for a successful world tour, and in 2011, the band celebrated its 40th anniversary. Ferry, however, has continued to pursue his solo career with the same passion and dedication that has defined his work from the beginning. His later albums, such as Olympia, 2010, and Avonmore, 2014, have been praised for their maturity and the way they seamlessly blend contemporary sounds with the classic Ferry style. In 2019, Bryan Ferry was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a member of Roxy Music, a recognition of his and the band's lasting impact on the music industry. Even as he approaches his 8th decade, Ferry shows no signs of slowing down, continuing to tour and record new music. Bryan Ferry's journey through the world of music is not just a story of songs and albums, but of a constantly evolving aesthetic. In the early 1970s, as the frontman of Roxy Music, Ferry epitomized the glam rock movement. The band's visual style was as flamboyant as their music, bold, experimental, and unapologetically avant-garde. Ferry's own look, with sharp suits, heavy makeup, and an air of detached coolness, set him apart from his contemporaries. He became a fashion icon almost overnight, influencing everything from runway shows to street style. As the 1970s progressed, Ferry's style, both musically and visually, began to mature. The glitter and glam of Roxy Music's early years gave way to a more refined, sophisticated image. By the time of their 1975 album, Siren, Ferry had transitioned from rock star to something more akin to a modern-day crooner, drawing comparisons to figures like Frank Sinatra, albeit with a uniquely contemporary twist. This evolution continued into his solo career, where Ferry's music often reflected a longing for a bygone era of elegance and sophistication. His cover albums, where he reinterpreted classic songs from the 1930s and 1940s, were not just exercises in nostalgia but statements of timeless style. Through his reinterpretations, Ferry showed that the old could be made new again, that elegance never goes out of fashion. The perfectionist's dilemma. Bryan Ferry's reputation as a perfectionist has often been a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it's this drive for perfection that has led to some of the most meticulously crafted albums in modern music. Ferry's attention to detail is legendary, whether it's the arrangement of a song, the production of an album, or the design of a stage show, everything is considered and polished to a shine. However, this perfectionism has also been a source of tension. Ferry's quest for the ideal has sometimes resulted in friction within Roxy Music, particularly with Brian Eno, whose own experimental leanings clashed with Ferry's desire for control. Eno left the band after just 2 albums, and while Roxy Music continued to thrive, it was clear that Ferry's vision would always dominate. This relentless pursuit of perfection has also taken a toll on Ferry personally. His work is often characterized by a sense of melancholy, a yearning for something unattainable. This is perhaps most evident in his lyrics, where themes of lost love, regret, and introspection are common. It's as if Ferry, in his search for artistic perfection, is constantly aware of the imperfections of life, and this awareness seeps into his music, challenges and controversies. No biography of Bryan Ferry would be complete without acknowledging the challenges and controversies he has faced. Despite his suave exterior, Ferry has had his share of struggles, particularly in his personal life. His divorce from Lucy Helmore in 2003 was a significant blow, marking the end of a relationship that had lasted over 2 decades. The divorce was widely covered in the media, and it was clear that the split had a profound effect on Ferry. This period of his life was marked by introspection, and some of his music from this time reflects a deeper, more somber tone. Ferry has also faced criticism for some of his statements and affiliations. In 2007, he caused a stir with comments that were interpreted as being sympathetic to Nazi aesthetics, a controversy that led to significant backlash. Ferry later apologized, stating that his comments were misunderstood, but the incident tarnished his public image and reminded everyone that even icons can stumble. The legacy of Bryan Ferry. As we look at Bryan Ferry's life and career, it's clear that his legacy is multifaceted. He is a musician, an artist, a style icon, and a cultural pioneer. His influence extends beyond the music industry into fashion, visual art, and even cinema. Ferry's ability to blend different artistic disciplines into a cohesive whole has made him a unique figure in popular culture. Ferry's legacy also lies in his ability to reinvent himself while staying true to his core artistic principles. Whether as the frontman of Roxy Music or as a solo artist, Ferry has always managed to stay relevant, continually pushing the boundaries of what music can be. His work resonates with a sense of timelessness, an eternal elegance that transcends the trends and fads of the moment. For younger generations, Bryan Ferry may be an introduction to the power of style and sophistication in music. His music videos, album covers, and live performances offer lessons in how to create a complete artistic vision. In an age where image and branding are often superficial, Ferry's work stands out as a reminder that true artistry comes from a deep understanding of how all the elements, music, visuals, fashion, work together to create something lasting. Conclusion: Bryan Ferry's life is a testament to the power of artistic vision and the pursuit of excellence. From his early days as a coal miner's son to his rise as a cultural icon, Ferry's journey is one of constant reinvention, of striving for something more. His music, style, and influence have left an indelible mark on the world, inspiring countless others to follow in his footsteps. In the end, Bryan Ferry's story is one of elegance, sophistication, and an unyielding dedication to his craft. He remains, to this day, a beacon of what it means to be an artist in the truest sense of the word. Whether through his music, his fashion, or his art, Ferry continues to captivate and inspire, proving that true style is, indeed, timeless. Thank you for joining me in this deep dive into the life and legacy of Bryan Ferry. His journey is a powerful reminder of the enduring impact one can have when they remain true to their artistic vision, no matter the challenges or controversies they face along the way.